I always like to ask this question, what time is it? I know I'm a bit late just now, but that was because horrible jam outside, and I came from KL. But I asked, what time is it to take stock of our situation? Recently, I heard a YouTube video of a speech by, I would call him an ASEAN statesman, former Foreign Minister of Singapore, Mr. George Yeo. He compared the current geopolitical situation with an analogy from this very famous novel from China called The Three-Body Problem by Liu Cixin. If you have not read the novel, you can watch the series on Netflix. I've only watched the first season. I don't understand a thing. Right, the three bodies problem. Basically, it describes a planet with three suns. We only have one sun. Imagine three suns. So the gravitational pull between all these planetary bodies will cause a lot of chaos. There's a lot of unpredictability, a lot of, you can't predict the climate, you can't predict the weather, you can't predict anything. So they're basically utter chaos. So there is some sort of a predictability. But today, when we are dealing with a multipolar world, you don't have to read Liu Cixin Santi or three-body problem. You imagine our roundabout. And I'm not talking about KL roundabout. I told Michael Teo, I'm talking about Penang roundabout. Right? You have your factory in Penang. Imagine every car, lorries, buses, big and small, motorcycles, bicycle, all trying to get into the roundabout to get into their own direction. No lines, no lanes, no traffic light. Almost like no rules, right? So this is the situation. If you are not careful, there will be a collision. I've consistently called for our growth model in Malaysia to be transformed from a low-cost, low-price, what I call made in Malaysia model, into a high-value, high-growth, made by Malaysia model. And when I came to this ministry, I have decided to direct the focus of our ministry into just one single mission. That is to make Malaysian businesses great. Hebatkan perniagaan Malaysia. 让马来西亚企业更加强大. I know time is not with me, right? Not because it's going to be a change of government, but because the election schedule is coming on us. So I know time is not, so I said, forget about other things, just do one thing alone. That is to make Malaysian businesses. I align 15,000 staff, civil servants, including SME Corp, represented by Saudara Rizal here, to just this one task, via a framework of what I call ABCD strategy. And to realize this mission, I'm proud to say that this whole year, we're embarking on what I call Power Up 10,000 campaign. Under this campaign, 5 KPIs. Number 1, we will release up to 15 billion ringgit in low-cost financing into the SME market. This is an increase from last year, about 10 billion. Number 2, we target to help at least 10,000 Malaysian businesses at various levels to scale up. Number 3, we will deploy at least 100 million ringgit this year to train up to 100,000 entrepreneurs in various capacity building programs. Because when I talked to the bank, I was talking to the bank on Monday, Miss Emily was there. I spoke to 16 top bankers in this country. 2 weeks ago, I spoke to the capital market. I said, all of you have to gear up, have to power up, help us to help the SMEs. Some of them said, we want to help the SMEs. But governance is a problem. We want to help the SMEs. Family-owned business, decision-making is very confusing. We want to help SMEs. Paperwork is not in place. So that's why I say, we want to deploy at least 100 million to train up in terms of capacity building for 100,000 entrepreneurs. Number 4, we aim to help the SME sector to achieve a value added of beyond 750 billion ringgit this year. Basically, we want to help SME to push up SME sector GDP to beyond 750 billion from about 600 over billion. And finally, in the medium term. Even if I cannot do it this year, the medium term aspiration is to create what I call the 100 times 100 Madani Club, where we want to help at least 100 Malaysian companies to hit 100 million ringgit in the medium term. This is Power Up 10,000. Very practical. We are not going to waste time on other things. We're just going to focus our attention to make Malaysian businesses great. As of February of 2026, I have announced about 4 billion in financing, and I'm glad to say that 2 billion ringgit has been approved in this Power Up financing to companies across the country.